Jessica, we've got House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He's moving to knock off Democrats Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff from House Intelligence, Ilhan Omar from Foreign Affairs. McCarthy's saying, quote, Swalwell can't get security clearances, even in the private sector, and Schiff has lied too many times to the American public. This ties into the timing of the new House GOP Select Committee on White House, FBI, big tech collusion. What are your thoughts about all of this?
Well, I think, this is to the winner go the spoils. This is what the majority gets to do. So we shouldn't be surprised about these sorts of things. But I think the larger agenda for the new Republican majority is to really start exercising the oversight that's been missing from Congress the last couple of years and to clear up some of the concerns and misconceptions and perhaps, we don't know, lies that have been going on through lots of different areas, right? With the COVID pandemic and information about that. Some people have concerns about the election. There's lots of things that need to be uncovered and brought out into the light. So I think part of this effort is to make these investigations reliable and trustworthy. They should be reassuring that we're going to get to the bottom of some of these things that a lot of Americans have lingering questions on.
To what Jessica is saying, Ford, we've got also this. We've got House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan. He really went after Democrats led by Jerry Nadler because now the Democrats are trying to attack these House GOP probes. Watch Jim Jordan here.
It's not a ploy when the Department of Justice treats parents as terrorists, moms and dads who are simply showing up at a school board meeting to advocate for their son or daughter. It's not a ploy when the FBI pays Twitter $3 million, not one, not two, $3 million to censor American citizens. Former Democrat chair of the Judiciary Committee is in the press today saying we're going to fight this tooth and nail. This is political. But meanwhile, the former Democrat chair of the Intelligence Committee pressured Twitter to censor a journalist. This is about the First Amendment, something you guys used to care about. And I'd actually hoped we could get bipartisan agreement on protecting the First Amendment.
They only care about fights over the First Amendment when it works in their favor for it. It seems like that, right?
I tip my hat to Jim Jordan, and thanks to the Twitter files, we know that the American government has been weaponized against the American people, from all things COVID to the Hunter Biden laptop story. Look, this is not a partisan issue. This is a we the people issue. The American people have been lied to by their own government, and we need to know the extent of the cover-up.
What's really striking to Ford's point, Jessica, is they're looking into how Dr. Fauci and Dr. Francis Collins, right at the start of the pandemic in 2020, they were talking about a full-court media blitz to say this super virus is not man-made, it came from nature, to do a quick and devastating media takedown on scientists who said don't do lockdowns, focus on the vulnerable. But Jessica, what's really striking is Dr. Fauci testified in this new Missouri and Louisiana lawsuit that he said he was, quote, afraid that blaming the Chinese for the outbreak would, quote, increase tensions and reduce cooperation with China. But Jessica, that's not his role. He's not a diplomat. China was never going to let anyone inside its lab. The PLA locked it down.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Whatever happened and didn't happen, and hopefully we'll all learn much more about that going forward on a lot of these fronts. The point is that that is not the role of government officials. They are not here to tell us what to think. They can give the CDC's opinion and guidance, but to try to manipulate the media or social media companies is obviously an overstep. So I'm glad to see that the focus of these concerns is shifting from the social media companies themselves to the government pressure behind a lot of those decisions. I think that's where we'll learn a lot about what was really going on these days. If you read the Twitter files, you see that these social media companies are awfully resistant to complying with these requests initially, and there's got to be some reason, some pressure that's being applied there that makes them go along with it. You see these in the back and forth, and I think that's the problem. That should be a problem for Republicans, for Democrats, for everyone. The control shifts, the other guy's in charge next month, and you don't want him to have that influence either. So this is something that needs to be, there needs to be a bright line.
It's just, so to what Jessica's saying, Ford, too, it's like what was talked about in government started to trickle down to censorship on social media. I mean, Dr. Fauci early on in January 2020 was sending an article by Science magazine that theorized it was a man-made virus, and one of the scientists on the email chain says it looks engineered. But then you see this, this Twitter censorship start to roll out. Final word for it.
Yeah, this is censorship by surrogate. This is suppression by surrogate, and that violates the intent and the spirit of the First Amendment. And these bureaucrats like Fauci, the federal government, need to be held accountable.
Got it. Jessica Melugin, Ford O'Connell, that was a terrific interview. Come back soon. It's good to see you.